Due to the ignorance of our host, parental discretion is advised.
We're rolling, fellas.
Now we're rolling.
We're rolling. Welcome to the Beehive.
Welcome.
I'll be honest with you, one of us has a raging boner, and the other one is me.
Let's take a guess, right?
All right.
Okay, then.
He has been trying to get you guys forever. We've been talking about it. He was like, yeah, man, we should ask those guys, but we're afraid you guys will beat the shit out of us. But
No, Zach's the fighter out of us.
He's the one
too.
that looks like the fighter, though, right?
hey, I was listening to your episode today, and you almost forgot you were coming today.
I did. Dude, you gotta understand. You gotta understand, okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, we got a lot going on with you. When you get this close to a fight,
Yeah, I bet.
I forget
No,
a lot of things.
not at all, dude.
You can
I'm
ask my
actually
wife. I
surprised that
forget
you're
a
even
lot of
here. I
things.
was like, oh, man, is he sure he wants to come?
Oh, sure.
I was like,
Sure.
we're going to break his focus.
A little carb depleted.
Yeah.
So we have, go ahead, dude.
Damage Plan podcast. Got Jason, Zach.
Hey.
I guess we get Jason Laporte, Zach Partridge, right?
Yep.
186 episodes.
Yeah, we're about 186 deep. Yeah.
How long have you
really?
guys been doing it?
Year and a half now?
Started like February
Yeah.
of last year, like right before COVID.
Oh, well, so you do, how many a week do you do?
At least two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at least two. And then when we have like the fights that are coming up, like on July 31st, we'll try to have all the guys that are scheduled to fight. We try to get all the local guys an opportunity to come on the podcast. So a lot of them will do those. We call them the Fighter Spotlight podcast, and they'll just be 10, 15 minutes. Just, hey, how's your training? What do you know about your
Right.
opponent?
Yeah.
How you gonna win? Like we're gonna do Zach's probably either
Oh,
Friday
cool.
or Monday. He's gonna do his own Fighter Spotlight.
Nice. Now, one of the biggest things that I love about your guys' podcast is just that right there. You give a voice to all the local fighters, which nobody else does that, right?
That's what we started it for. I mean, originally, COVID shut everything down, but we started it to be like, one, we should do an MMA podcast, but two, it's like, what can we do that nobody else is doing? And that was, giving a voice to the amateur guys, the 0-0 debuters that nobody knows, nobody cares about. I mean, you go to the show, you watch them, but like that's the first you hear about them. It's fun for it's fun for them. Two, it's fun for their friends and family. But then the guys that are, that want to make a career out of this, it's good practice for them because when they get to the big stage, like if the guys that do make it to the big stage, they're not doing the interview thing and the podcasts and the media stuff for the first time when they first get to the big stage. Like hopefully they've been on our podcast a few times by then and we kind of ride with some of those guys on their way up. And by the time they, hopefully an ESPN or whatever bigger shows are calling to them, they're comfortable and they're ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
Where do you guys record from?
Home. We just do them over StreamYard, kind of like Zoom. It's like Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We like we were talking about before we went live. We started at the Salt Lake Community College. They have their own little podcast room set up there. You just schedule it, and we were doing it there, but it's kind of a pain in the butt for him to drive down from Layton once or twice a week.
Oh, shit, you're from Layton.
I'm in
then.
Kaysville. He's down in Sandy. So it's like,
Yeah. So then once COVID hit and they didn't allow us to do it anymore, we're like, okay, the Zoom it is. Then
It was perfect, huh?
gives us opportunity to get guys from out of state. People, fighters from out of state. Obviously, our main focus is our Utah guys. Like they always take precedence over anybody else. If you got a fight coming up and you're from Utah, you're first on the list.
get you
There's a lot of good fighters from Wyoming,
Yeah.
places like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool that you can just get on Zoom and just do a podcast wherever. That's the beauty part about podcasts, right?
Just interviewed a guy last week from Hawaii.
yep.
Oh shit!
Called in from Hawaii.
Nice.
He's coming out to the
Coming
Stillfish
up.
show.
Yep,
He's fighting on July 31st, fighting one of my teammates actually, but he's still in Hawaii and for his first amateur fight, and he's coming out here. So, but we had him on the show just like everybody else, and that is the convenience of doing it, over StreamYard. So.
Isn't it crazy how many people you reach by just doing a podcast? Though? All of a sudden, it's like, because we went to, I heard you guys mention Eric Iman.
Yeah.
And we went to his fight at the, is it the East Center? Not the East Center.
We
the
went
Maverick
to
Center.
Maverick
Maverick
Center.
Center.
Yeah.
And,
When he fought for LFA.
and he's part of his family in California came up to me and said, "Oh, the Beehive." We were like, "What?" We were just like blown away. I was like, "I used to, I listen to you guys." It's like, Jesus. It's like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's basically what we do.
It is crazy. We had some random, like a manager from Florida reach out to us, asked to start getting guys on our podcast. We had a guy from Ohio this week. He's
like
like
a random guy,
fitness
just like,
coach.
Hey man, I used to train all these guys back in the day, and starts listing off all these guys, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I've never heard of this guy. So I asked one of the guys who happens to be coming on our podcast Friday. I'm like, hey, do you know this guy? Anyways, he was validated. And
did he ask you? He's all, what's your vehicle warranty situation right now?
That might have been coming. That might be coming. I want to check my messages.
That's so funny.
Yo, how did you get into MMA?
I've just kind of always been a fan through the years. I've always watched UFC growing up. I did a little bit of training. This has been 20. I'm a little bit older. I'm 45. Yeah. About 20 years ago, I did a little bit of training. Always stayed in watching the UFC. Kind of got out of the local scene and then got back into it about 5 years ago. I ended up purchasing Damage Plan Athletics. Ran into him. We had a booth together. He had an insurance booth. I had my Damage Plan apparel booth. And
an insurance booth, huh?
I do home auto and life insurance.
Oh, cool. There you go.
Oh, there you go. That's it.
You're the one who calls us, huh?
Very nice.
So,
but that's my story. I'm just a fan. Like he's the fighter, I'm the fan. Like that's kind of the unique dynamic I think of our podcast is you get the fighter perspective and then you get the non-fighter.
How about you, Zach?
So a little over 4 years ago, I was I found the gym that I train at now for my son, my oldest son. He's 9 now. He was just about to turn 5, and I just wanted to get him into something. We were watching fights. I had a buddy that kind of got me into the Conor McGregor rise, right? And he's like, you got to watch this guy. It's electric, and he was really fun. And I started getting into, I'd catch the free cards, right, when I could, and then my son, and then we signed him up, and then one of the pros there, Rowdy Akers, been around for a long time. He's like, I'm fighting. You should come check this out. And I've been looking for something too so I was 270 pounds at the time. A little over 4 years ago, I was 270 pounds.
Wow.
And I was like, I try to do whatever, P90X.
Yeah.
Play pickup basketball, try to like get in shape. But when I was that overweight, and I was always a football, baseball, basketball guy, but I was just that overweight, a couple knee surgeries, and it's just like I'd always hurt myself, always. And then he invited me to come watch one of his fights, and we went to a still fist fight, and I was hooked. I signed up the next Monday, and I'm like, I'll just do this to lose weight. This is gonna be good. I got down to about 230 and feeling pretty good, and my coach was like, we'll get you down to 205, we'll get you a fight. I was like, yeah, that'd be good, like bucket list thing to do.
Right.
First fight, I was freaking hooked, man.
The fact that you fight at 170.
This will be my first fight at 170, crazy. But I was fighting at 185. But I mean, 170 was kind of a goal, just from the standpoint of, like, just say, like, I'll have lost 100 pounds when I weigh in at 170 or below. So,
congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That's me. 100 pounds. Really? Yeah. No, close.
Yeah, so
when I'm wet, baby.
But yeah, so it's just like that. That's my thing. I mean, you talked to me 5 years ago, and I would have said MMA's. Oh, it's like human cockfighting. I was so uneducated. I knew nothing. Most people get into it. They wrestled, did karate as a kid, whatever. And I was football, baseball, basketball, mostly football. Like I eat, breathe, sleep football. And now it's like, I still like football, but like, I don't even watch college football really anymore because fights are on Saturdays.
Fights.
I like NFL. It's like, I used to be like all into fantasy football and all that stuff. Now it's just like, now we just put together a little parlay, a little bet or something on a Sunday, and just and just watch the scores. But like I'm all over the fights the night before still. Like so it's
poor wives.
Yeah.
Don't even, dude. I'm telling you.
Podcasting and you're watching fights again. It's like,
every weekend.
If there's a pay-per-view on a Saturday, it's like my wife this Saturday.
Game.
She's like, "Aren't we going to a barbecue?" I'm like, "No, TJ Dillashaw and Corey Sandhagen fight. We're watching the fights."
We're watching the fights, baby.
Mine's pretty cool about this, but she's more of a. Did you really say that about us? I'm like, yeah, it's the Beehive. It's the Beehive.
My wife just texted me today about something that I said on our podcast yesterday. She listens to a lot of them.
She's chiming in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
so that's what she said. She's like, "Oh, you missed my comments yesterday." She's like, "Does it bug you?" And I'm like, "No, it doesn't bug me. Like, it's fine. I appreciate it. She watches."
And if I talk about my wife, then his wife will be messaging her.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, they're talking about you on there. And
guys get
man, we can't say anything. Can't get away with anything on here.
Yep. A lot of people will say to me, we have some friends in the group, and a guy that really helped us through the podcast world, our buddy Dre. He, the last fight card. He says, "Come on, let's do a podcast. Let's talk about the fights, whatever." And it was like the first time that I've got to sit down and do a podcast about MMA. And they're like, "God, man, you know so much about it." I'm like, I don't know shit compared to those guys on the Damage Plan podcast, because I'll listen to their podcast and I will learn shit about MMA. So that's what I love about listening to you guys. You know it, you breathe it, and you can feel it when you guys put out content.
It's pretty much our
Appreciate that.
like we're usually researching it. I don't know why we message each other the news, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I saw that, and he's sending it, I'm sending it, vice versa.
It's who can get to it first, right?
Basically, yeah.
I don't know how many my people are gonna message me this, but I do. I have friends that will like send me a headline, and I'm like,
I saw that 2 hours ago,
bro,
bud.
you don't think that I haven't seen this?
Did you like check in with me before they put that out?
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
Like,
So when are you fighting?
July 31st. So what? It's that 11 days?
Yeah.
We're 11 days out.
Wow.
Got your tickets yet?
Not yet.
Dude, it's dang near sold
You know,
out,
when we went to we had Rob Snow on. We went to the fights and we had some tickets, and a couple of our friends didn't have tickets. So we went to the door, sold out.
Yep.
So thank God for scalpers, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we paid double price for
Really?
it. But I was so impressed that a local show had sold out like that.
Oh, dude, this one's sold out.
I remember Ultimate Combat days.
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
Way back in the day. That, I mean, there was 50 people in there at times.
Really?
It wasn't very big.
Really?
They did used to
That's
sell out that
so
Maverick Center.
depressing.
That's a few times. They
Remember when they
packed
did
that
it in the bar? They would do it at
across from Club 90, whatever. it used to be.
whatever that is, that station
Sandy
or
Station.
yeah,
Sandy
yeah.
Station. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were times where there weren't very many people in there, and to see where we're at now is so great, so humbling.
Yeah.
We were talking about Brian and I were talking about this when you know that
We're missing a guy, our producer.
Oh,
He had to take his kid to karate.
Karate.
All right.
I call
cool.
you know how his kid is Kingston.
Yeah.
We call him King. I said Karate King.
There you
And now
go.
they adopted it. This is my name. Start a podcast. I'm just kidding. But you know that club used to be a club on West Temple. It's called Splash.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it used to be a club when there's like all the rooms will have like a different DJ.
Yep. I remember that.
So I remember he opened for he was the DJ for one of the fights, and that's the first time that I saw Herb Dean.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, look at that guy. And he was like, who's that? I'm like, that guy's probably more famous than all the fighters are here.
I have the most
1,000,000%.
depressing Herb Dean story. So I went to, do you remember when Pride came to Vegas? The last show they did, Pride 33. Okay. Henderson,
Yep.
beat
Yeah.
Vonderlei. In fact, that's where I got the Nick Diaz when he fucking go plotted fucking Takanori Gomi
Yeah.
in his prime.
Who's down the top, dude? Who's down the top?
Oh, me right there, Pat Miletich.
Nice.
That was at the LFA fights.
That was Eric's
yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
So there was a group of people, and I could see Herb Dean, and I says, "Oh, I got to get a picture with Herb Dean."
Yeah.
So I walk over there, get a picture with him, and yeah, cool guy. The next person that walks up to me, they say, "Who are you fighting?" Oh, I was heartbroken. He's like, "I'm not a fighter, I'm a ref." They're like, "Oh," and they just turned around, didn't get their
Man,
picture with
Did he
him.
just
I
go
was
like this, and then he walked away?
Herb was too thing that sneaky secret. You know, Herb fought.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has four fights on his record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's 2-2.
He's a badass then.
That's
huh?
pretty badass. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a legit black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like, Herb's, he doesn't give himself. Yeah, he is the ref that night, but like, Jason's not Jason's favorite ref.
He's not my favorite ref right
but
Yeah, and I was actually wondering about this.
He's legit.
Do all of the refs have like some sort of like experience,
Yeah,
or
so-
All the good ones do.
So,
right?
well,
They should.
so you have to pass a class.
what about that
and
guy that was
her-
drunk?
No, what is it? No nonsense, Keith
No,
Peterson.
not cigarettes and whiskey.
Dude,
guy
what
was
did
drunk.
John Attic had the best? I was listening to Florian and Attic, and he said, what did he say? He's all no nonsense. Keith Peterson went in the back, took a 5-minute lung burner, and went out and reffed a fight. So,
It looks like he did too.
Yeah, so no, to be a ref or whatever, you like John McCarthy has a course, Herb Dean has a course. Like they're out there, guys that are the guys in MMA, right? And you go take their their course. You pay and you go out there and take their course and get certified. When you get certified, there's certain courses that are accepted by athletic commissions, and you get certified through that, and then you work in and then you can start working with that whatever state you live in and certain athletic commissions, and there's some basic courses that some athletic commissions are like, you need more experience somewhere that'll take those credentials. But like Vegas, right, fight capital of the world, you can't just take some online course and apply to be a ref with their athletic commission. You know what I mean?
It's too bad they don't do that with the judges, though, right?
But like Montana doesn't even have an athletic commission.
Really?
Yeah.
No, Montana doesn't have an athletic commission.
I'm surprised Eric didn't talk about that when they were on there.
Oh, it's Wild West up there.
Really?
Yeah.
So have you guys met Eric then?
Oh yeah, we know Eric really
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did his life insurance.
I was helping Sam.
Did his life insurance.
I was going to help Sam. I was helping Sam with her nutrition stuff. Well, it's probably been about a year and a half. It was before COVID, all the COVID stuff.
Oh, yeah, 'cause she was gonna compete, huh? Yeah, that's right,
So
that's
we were
right.
working with her nutrition, so I got to know them really well.
Yeah. She got pretty buff, and then
She looks good.
then COVID says.
Then the COVID,
Hold on.
man, it hit everybody.
Did you guys ever got it? Ever got it?
Did you guys catch COVID?
I just
think I had it.
See,
in the beginning.
That's me. I
get
think I had it, right?
You get tested.
I just had it.
Really? Did you?
Like I just got out of quarantine like a week and a half ago.
Oh, really?
Wow.
We went to. I give him shit because
He's still spraying
we
it
went
out.
we went to California for the day. One of his sponsors flew us out there for Higa Machado opened a gym in Santa
Oh,
Monica.
no shit.
So we got to go fly out there for the grand opening of Higa Machado's gym.
Oh, wow.
So I was giving him shit because he gets sick right when we get back. Should have been wearing your mask.
Ah.
Should have been wearing your mask, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, did you hear California is doing the mask thing again?
Yeah, they're going back.
California.
LA County's
Going
crazy.
back, man.
You think
Are we
they're-
surprised, though?
No.
Are we
No,
really surprised?
They're going to try. They're going to try. I already see it. You already see they're possibly pulling the Olympics out. Yeah,
Oh, no shit. The Olympics are this year, too.
Yeah, they said that it might be like a last minute thing where they just say, nope. I'm like, man.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
That's
so,
fucking
yeah,
crazy.
so we just it is what it is, but
It'd get you hard.
it got me pretty good.
Did it?
Yeah,
Dude, how scary, especially weeks up to your fight.
that was the whole thing. Is I'm like it just like because I've heard of it getting
Yo,
into
cutting
people's
weight?
lungs.
Fuck that. I get COVID. We're good.
It did help with the weight cut. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It did help with the weight cut, but you know, the whole time I was just like, I've heard it like messing with people's lungs.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, I just don't want it to mess with my lungs, man. Like, and I think I bounced back pretty good. Like no excuses like
Right.
for this fight. Like it's not gonna affect this.
Like
fight.
Cody Garbrandt,
Yeah.
he caught
He
it
got it
bad.
bad, yeah.
He got it rough.
Oh, did he
But
really?
See, that's the thing is he got it bad, and it didn't hit him hard enough at the beginning, and so he just tried to push through it and trade through it
Right.
like it was a cold. That's the biggest problem. Is like our bodies are so worn down. Like working out twice a day, and you're just and you're getting pretty calorie deficient, right? Because you're trying to, you're cutting weight and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like your body's pretty run down. Like there's not a lot to fight a virus, And so he was just trying to push through it, and I think that's where the damaging of the lungs. Where the first day that I didn't feel good, like I was like, okay, go get tested, and I'm gonna
Son of a
And then
bitch.
it's like, okay, we're just gonna chill for 10 days, and it's all gonna work out. Like it all worked out good.
Yeah. Good.
So,
Good.
what's your schedule when it comes to training?
So we have class at our gym at One Hit. We do. I have a morning class and an evening class, and then it's just kind of listening to my body. I try and work out twice a day. If things aren't going like if I start getting some bumps and bruises and I feel a little bit too beat up, I'll go do some like active recovery stuff. Like I'll go swim laps, or I'll go
Nice.
go run and go do wind sprints at the park or whatever. Just something that's not just so hard on my body, because I mean it wears you down. But I'm the type of guy too though that my coach sometimes has to tell me like, dude,
Sit down for a minute.
Yeah,
Sit this one out.
I get obsessive over it, and I just like it's hard to like not be at every single class, and so we sometimes we have to take some time, but usually it's just morning, evening, like so tomorrow's Wednesday. So I'll go spar tomorrow morning at like 11 for an hour, and then I'll go back and spar again at night for an hour about 5:30. And
So is your job flexible with this? Do they know?
I own my own insurance agency.
Oh, there you go.
So
that's you're your own boss.
I'm my own boss.
Hell
so that helps.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by, what's your name?
Damage plan insurance. That's what we call it. That's what it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. So we're kind of co-branding it all together, but yeah.
We're trying to build a MMA empire.
Yeah, for
with the whole
sure.
damage plan thing.
Question I have to ask: was it named after the band
No, I didn't even know it was a band.
Vinnie Paul and Dimebag Daryl?
Never even. It's funny story is I had a guy come up to me at the fights one time and was kind of pissed at me because of the name, and I'm like, I don't even know who the hell Damage Plan is. Oh, you stole the name. And I'm like, well, it's Damage Plan Athletics, so I didn't really steal the name. And
And did you tell him their band is one word?
Yeah.
We're two, for
I'm
God's
like,
sakes.
whatever. But he was like legit mad at me because
Really?
of the name. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to fight you over a name of a band. I don't even know who they are.
I was just gonna
I'll
ask.
fight him.
I was just gonna ask you. So obviously you see him going through the training and stuff. It doesn't light that fire in you to try to
Oh,
fight.
it definitely likes fire.
Really?
I go train. Yeah, I train and I'll go up and I did their sparring class last Wednesday and it's fun. But
Yeah.
man, I'm 45. It's
Well, Eric is what, 56?
Yeah.
he's still 67. Yeah, he's up there.
You just say that because he's not here.
Yeah.
You didn't say that to his face, dog.
Oh, we bust his balls
Oh,
all the
dude,
time.
all the time. In fact, it's funny. You did his life insurance.
You probably made a bank out of that motherfucker.
Actually, it's not going to pay off well in the end for that guy. Bless his heart.
Oh, we love him. We love him. We love Sammy.
No, no.
I do love the training though.
Yeah.
I want him to do one. I keep telling him.
They
I'm like,
keep
dude,
telling
just
me,
do
and I'm just.
one,
The
dog.
problem is though, is nowadays, like you remember, like back, 15, 20 years ago, you could just go in there in jean shorts and a wife beater and throw down and okay, hey, raise, take a loss. Nowadays, I get in there. It's like there's a kid at his gym, just turned 20 years old. This kid's a wrecking machine. Cole Faust. Shout out to Cole Faust. This kid's a killer. He's been training since he's 5 years old, and this kid is a savage. And I'm like, my luck, I would get matched up with a kid like that.
Dude, I wouldn't let
And
that
you would.
happen. I wouldn't let that happen to you, bro.
But kids that played basketball
Yeah.
and played football, now they're doing MMA,
Now
Jiu
they're stars.
Jitsu,
Yes.
and
Well,
it's,
we talked about it. So we went down to Price last weekend to go to the Fierce Challenger fighting
Challenger series, yeah.
series, whatever thing they put on. And I mean, it was awesome. And we had, I do the commentary for the Fierce promotion.
Oh, cool.
And I was
was
on
gonna say that.
I was on the mic with a guy, Chris Curtis, who's probably the number one guy that's not signed by the UFC or Bellator in the country. And he was doing the commentary with me, and we were just talking about that. And it's just like, dude, just wait. Give it another 10 years or so. Just wait till like the LeBron James of athletes decides like, forget all that. I'm going to go fight.
Yeah.
Wait till the elite athletes. And we're starting to see a little bit of that wave coming.
With the Russians.
But
all the Dagestanis coming at us.
forget all that
Yeah,
noise.
you know that's our number one rule on the podcast.
I heard that.
that's
You
the
had it in writing, right?
Do not, it's in writing on his wall. We're gonna make a shirt, the 10 Commandments of MMA betting.
Yeah,
That
if
is
you're
rule
picking
number
MMA
one.
fights, yeah, that rules. You don't pick against Dagestanis. But no, that wave and that generation of kids like Cole Faust who just turned 20, who this is all they did. He did jiu-jitsu until nobody wanted to compete against him in jiu-jitsu anymore, and kids quit signing up in his bracket because they didn't stand a chance.
Right.
And he's been doing kickboxing since he was 5. So then he's like, well, I got to do something. So he starts wrestling, and he's a state championship wrestler by his senior year. Damn. And then he gets offers to go scholarship to go wrestle. And he's like, I'm good. I'm gonna fight. And that's all he does is he works out 3 times a day, and he trains and he by his 19th birthday, he was the AMI 155 champ and 4-0 and defending champ.
Defending champ.
Champ. And before his 20th birthday, he already defended it once, 4-0. And the kid's special, and it's like, dude, and a whole wave of those is coming in this sport.
You're seeing
and elite athletes, and he's a hard worker, and he's this and that, but he's athletic too. He would have been good at any sport he chose.
Right. Well, there's so many gyms now. When we were talking outside, it was 2004, 2005. Like I said, I think it was on 9th South, and I went to Elite Performance.
Yeah.
And I have the best Jeremy Horn story. We went down to sign up, and I go in, and we had the belts on the wall, and it was just eye opening. At 23 years old, and he's like, "Oh yeah, so you have the morning classes here," and he starts to take his clothes off. And he changes right there in front of us. Didn't give a fuck. And you hear this is Gumby, for God's sakes.
This is Jeremy Horn.
Speaking of, we saw 2 of his fighters in Price.
Yeah,
Same
this
thing.
weekend.
2 guys that, there's a kid, 19 years old, wrestler, just phenomenal. Another kid making his pro debut, was 9-0 as an amateur, just made his pro debut and looked phenomenal.
Wow.
Broke the kid's jaw, dropped him again, choked him out.
And
Wow. Yo, do you enjoy doing commentary?
I love it.
Do you?
Actually, yeah, I mean, like sports. So I've always been a sports junkie. Like before it was MMA, like I was all in with like football, baseball, basketball. I play fantasy football, fantasy baseball. I was that kid that memorized baseball stats, and I was that kid that was. I mean, if I was at school, I was drawing pictures of sports or whatever. If I was, like that's just it's just obsession. I always knew I wasn't an elite athlete. I wasn't going to be a pro. Once I realized that the NFL wasn't super interested in, and NBA wasn't super interested in, 6-foot white guys.
That's what I was going to say.
Average athletes.
Are you a lefty?
Yes, I am. And but once I realized like that wasn't in the cards for me, and it's just like I wish I could get into like broadcasting, commentary, be like a GM for a team, just something that was my job, is to just be into the sport, right? And so I was super grateful when Fierce gave me the opportunity, because of our podcast. They heard me on the mic for the podcast, be like, well, we'd love to have you on our commentary team. And so I've been doing their last 2 at the Maverick Center, and then went down to Price to do their 1 in Price. And
But if you had to do one, would you fight or would you commentate?
dog.
If you could
Putting him
start,
on the spot.
if you could start all over,
after the 31st.
all over, and you were, we're talking 18 years old, and you knew then what you know now.
Putting you on the spot.
Man, if you know what, honestly,
He's like, just insurance for me.
you know what, if I could make a career out of it, and it was the only thing I was doing, I think I'd do the commentary.
Really?
Right?
I mean,
It's also like more, I would say, long lasting, right? I mean, you don't have,
that's what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
have
It's
like
like I
an
could
expiration date
I'm
per
like
se.
looking at it. I'm like, one, what fighters go through to make it out of a career, especially now. Like, and if you're saying when I was 18, so you're talking, I'm 32 now, almost 33. So it's like 14 years ago. Dude, they didn't make peanuts then.
Right.
Like, so if I could like have a full-time commentary gig that paid the bills, I mean, now if I could make enough money to fight and it would pay the bills, and I could have got into that when I was like, I mean, what's crazy is with how obsessed I was with football and baseball and basketball growing up, I was like, I wish I would have gotten into a gym when I was 9-10 years old. And then,
Is there anybody that does commentating in fights?
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
DC, but
well, dude, Paul Felder was doing
Paul
it.
Felder,
He just did it. Michael Bisping was commentating.
that's right.
Dominic
Chandler,
Cruz.
yeah, Michael Chandler was just on the desk.
Like those. I mean, you could definitely do both, and I plan on continuing to do both.
Nice.
It's pretty cool to see the UFC giving those guys an opportunity.
Oh, I love it.
They're
Right?
giving
I love
all
it.
these active fighters, giving them an opportunity to, giving them jobs like Paul Felder after he's done fighting.
Who knows it better than the guys that have been
Exactly.
in there, been in the trenches, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And they all have a different perspective on it, which
Yeah.
is super fun. And I think there's a couple things that make MMA beautiful and unique. One of which is I think it's the purest form of competition that I've found. Right, there's something about being locked in a cage, which is me versus another man, and that is it. I don't have teammates. I don't have to worry about any equipment. I don't have to worry about anything. It's me versus you. But the other thing,
you only have yourself to blame
Yeah,
when
sure.
something doesn't go right.
but then you
right?
get all the glory too, right?
Right,
It's all you too. I go and I starch this dude like that. That's me, right? I mean, my coaches and my teammates help me get me ready to
Absolutely.
be in that position. But it's me. So, but the other side, the other thing that I really love about MMA too is everybody has their own journey in it. It comes from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there are people that come from the lowest of lows into it, and then there's some people that do it and are very successful that they didn't have to fight, they just love to fight, so it's the sport is so unique in that way.
Would you consider yourself a striker or a grappler?
It's so hard because honestly, the way I view myself, I'd love to just stand and bang. I would love that. All my fights go to the ground.
Okay.
And I don't know what my teammates and coaches would say. I mean, you've seen a little bit, but I'm probably my jiu-jitsu's probably better than my striking. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd say it's probably pretty even.
I mean, he's pretty
well rounded.
But I started both, right? I had no background in wrestling. I had no background in striking. I had no background in anything. It was like my first day was kickboxing. My second day was jiu-jitsu. It's just been blended the whole time. So
yeah, it's so weird. I never got nowadays. Now that I'm a little older, because I trained MMA for a minute, and right after the class there was a jiu-jitsu class, and I tried it a couple of times. I was like, this is not for me. But now that I'm older, I'm like, fuck, I wish I stuck around.
I hated jiu-jitsu at the beginning.
See, yeah,
I hated it because jiu-jitsu, especially for athletes and stuff, it's the most humbling. So if you consider yourself like a good athlete,
right,
and you want to excel at things, athleticism and stuff like that doesn't equate in jiu-jitsu.
I goes out the window.
It doesn't. I have a buddy who, I truly believe this. If he would have been more well-rounded, he could be in the UFC right now. He hits like a Mack truck. He knock out anybody at 185. There's dudes that have decided to stand in front and bang with him in the UFC right now. I think he would knock out. He's an amateur here in Utah. But he won't come to jiu-jitsu.
Really?
And he doesn't do jiu-jitsu. I mean, he started to a little bit, but why? Because he was the best. He's always been the best at everything. Never really practiced football, baseball, make the baseball team. Football, he was Mr. Football here in Utah. He was 5'8", took the high school team to the state championship game as a running back. He was that guy that he'd still rush for over 200 yards, even though the other team knew he was the whole offense. Nobody could stop it. He's just always been the best at everything.
Just gifted
everywhere. Jiu-jitsu humbles everybody.
Yeah.
That we have a friend, Dalton.
Yeah,
Dalton.
they know Dalton.
You know him?
Dalton?
Yeah.
I worked with Dalton. I used to work with Dalton.
Yeah?
Yeah, at the Honda store.
He's one thing I've always heard him say, and even when he's interviewing entrepreneurs and says, I love going to jiu-jitsu because it's a way that it keeps you humble.
Yeah,
because you go there and it's all respect, right? It's nothing about hurting people or anybody, but he goes and he's been doing it for a while, and he goes, but there's something about somebody tapping you, that when you tap, you're like I'm humble. You know what I mean? That was good. It's a good learning experience.
There's always a bigger fish in a jiu-jitsu.
Right.
There's always a bigger fish.
How long did you do it for?
6 months. Not very long. But here's the thing. When I went in there, it was kind of the hype of when it started, right?
Yeah.
And I went in there with the friends that I had, and they were all 200. 210-pound guys, and here I was 145 pounds, and it was tough because there wasn't very many guys like that. And then the guys that were always at the gym lived there, and so it was like, well, I couldn't tap anybody.
Yeah.
I would think now, as much as I study it, I'm probably a little bit better than I was back then.
Yeah.
Now that we've had all these years watching fights and all that stuff, but it was tough back then. And now then the job, and now I've got bad wrists, and it just
I was going to ask you, would you ever pick it up again?
I want to bad. I want to get my kids into it, but my girls are all no,
Barbies for me.
Nothing, Dad. Not into that whatsoever. So all I got was girls. I didn't get no boys.
Well, I tell my coach taught me something, and one of my jiu-jitsu coaches, Matt Wilkinson, and I've adopted it now that I've been training over 4 years. He goes, I don't even care to learn your name unless I see you for at least 4 months.
Right.
Because so many people start and quit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They start and quit because nobody likes to be humbled like that.
It's,
man.
it's hard.
It's hard, man. It's hard. And I mean, I literally had to accept the fact, and a guy said, you just need to accept the fact that for your whole first year of jiu-jitsu, your job is to just survive.
Right.
He's like, you're not going to submit anybody. He goes, the only people you're going to submit are the people that have been doing it a lot shorter than you your whole first year. He goes, dude, somebody's been training a year and a half, you'll never submit them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still remember the first time I submitted a guy, and it was just like,
You're like, yes, you loser.
Yeah,
Fuck
suck
you.
it. Yeah, DX chop. You know,
DX chop.
And
Oh,
then
Brian would have loved that one.
And then most likely they're gonna tap you, 18 times in the next roll too, but to put it on you. But yeah, it's so humbling, and we had just couple guys at our gym, and they were telling me how discouraged they were. I'm like, you just got to keep coming. You just got to keep coming.
That's the key.
But within 2 weeks, I haven't seen him probably in a month.
It's that people don't want to work for things these days.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They don't want to, and it's hard. We were talking about in the parking lot. I just got into doing some Muay Thai stuff, a couple times a week, and the biggest thing for me is my coach. She said, "What do you want out of this? Do you want to belt up? Do you want to rank up? Do you want to fight?" I'm like, I want to come back tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah,
because here I am and my 110-pound Muay Thai coach that could kick my ass.
Yeah.
Oh, she'd sleep both of us, dude.
Yeah, I'll have to show you her video after this, but she knocked out this girl in 15 seconds. But yeah, it's just humbling to come in there and it's like, I just want to go lift weights. Like, I know how to lift weights. Like, I can come in there and I run circles around everybody in the gym, but to come in here and to, start with the basics, throwing a punch, just
right.
Yeah.
But then you start doing it for a while, like Zach said. I've been doing it for like 6 months, and then I go up there and do a class, and I'm like, oh, I'm starting to see things now. I'm starting to see angles. I'm starting to see those punches coming. And I mean, I'm still getting my ass kicked, but
right.
I'm
making progress,
more.
right?
I can see the progress now. So,
And MMA, if anything, is the one thing where I tell people, you don't know what you don't know, and MMA is, especially even Jiu Jitsu, what you don't know what you don't know. And I have a sponsor. Not going to call him out on this. But I won't say which one. But
He's not listening. It's okay.
Yeah, no one listens to this shit.
I do have a sponsor. And he's a bigger guy. He's probably 240, 250 up or north of that. And he's like, yeah, this guy is a purple belt. And he weighs like 140 pounds. And he's like, oh, yeah, I would tap you. And he's like, not a chance. And I was like, bro, if he's a legit purple belt.
Oh, yeah.
Not only does
sleep.
Right.
And you're almost double his weight. He snatches a limb or your neck, it's over. And he's like, come on, dude. He goes, I just smash him. I was like, not before he snaps something, dude, or before he puts you to sleep. And he does not believe me, and he doesn't buy it. And he's like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm like, you don't know what you don't know, bro. And it's like, and then when people go and experience it, I mean, I hear all the time. I have friends that tell me that all the time. They're like, oh, I could do that. I should do that. I'm like, come to the gym.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Come for a week. Come for a week. And literally, I respect the kid so much, but I've only heard one person be like, I could do that. And he signed up, and he's had 3 or 4 fights now. And
nice.
and he actually did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, 99% of the people, if they're like, I could do that. Anybody, if you think you could do MMA, come do it for a week and tell people that you do it, and you will be questioning a lot of things in your life.
Do you guys go ahead?
I was just gonna say, I wanted to add on to that because I know people are gonna be listening and think that hey, all I'm gonna do is get my ass kicked when I go in there.
Nope.
Look, since we started this podcast, I float around to all the gyms. I go around, I train with everybody. I tell you what, the most humbling but the most respectful. It's nothing but respect. Like, nobody's in there trying to hurt me. Like, they
exactly.
know. Like, all these guys up there that I'm going to train with, they know I don't fight.
Yeah.
They're not trying to rip my head off. Yeah, they're gonna hit me. They're gonna tap me out. But it's not. Nobody's bragging about it. Nobody's like, hey, look at this idiot coming in here. It's a very respectful atmosphere to be around, and I highly recommend it for anybody. Kids,
just a
adults.
pickup game of friends.
Yeah,
That's what it's become. Right?
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it.
It's so funny because
really
I was just gonna ask you, do you guys, since you guys are way into this, do you guys know any gyms that like grappling or MMA in West Valley?
Oh yeah.
Who's out in West Valley?
The closest.
Jeremy Horns would be right off of
City.
90th.
Yes, please.
Right off of 90th now. Absolute is right off of 78th and Redwood.
Okay.
1920th West.
Kind of out that way.
Yeah, I'll have water, please. Yeah. Tooele's got Tooele Martial Arts Academy. They're a little bit farther out.
Yeah.
I know there's some other gyms out there. And
I think Absolute's probably the closest to West Valley.
Okay, absolute, yeah.
And they
Yeah,
have
'cause
great
I
facility.
think if I could find, my thing is like I wish I went with somebody.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would say, hey, here, I'll teach you or whatever, because I
Yeah.
would like to learn, but it's just like I don't. when I go in a place that I don't know anybody, I
Shell out.
quiet. I barely
You
move.
guys should come up on like a Wednesday or Saturday up to. I'll drive up there. I'm in Sandy. I'll drive up there like on a Saturday and go do their.
come check it out,
It's
man.
like an hour-long jiu-jitsu, and
Open
one of the
mat.
coaches will open mat, so he'll show a move. We'll drill it for a few times, and then let everybody roll for an hour, and then it's if you want to stay and spar and.
Hell
And it's
yeah.
at your pace too, so it's
yeah.
not like hey, we don't fight, so we're just gonna go at it. Or if it's like him and a couple other guys, you watch them go
Let's
at it.
fight,
It's
Justin.
like,
Right.
You and me.
oh shit!
Content, dude.
There you go. You guys could go viral. You guys could go viral.
I keep telling you, I'll choke the shit out of you. Just wait.
Did you see? Side note, I showed you what happened to me last week, right? I call because I was gonna ask you. You going through a crazy diet?
That's not crazy.
Okay. Well,
If you do it the right way, call a professional nutritionist.
Oh, see.
It's that's
I know a guy.
That's
Yo,
not. That's what the
a
fuck
Lockhart
I'm
the
talking
right
Leaf,
way.
level
I did.
1, dude.
I did.
How
I did
awesome
it.
is that?
Yeah, I did it. It's pretty
What is
awesome. The Lockhart and Leith. He's a
You knew
nutritionist for a lot of
George
UFC
Lockhart,
fighters. And
Daniel Leith.
Oh, okay.
It's it was an interesting course.
Was it?
Yeah, interesting course. We'll just leave it at that.
Yo, his interview on Rogan
Yeah.
is one of my favorite interviews ever. First off, he's got a voice that you could beat off to.
Really?
Bar none. Oh, dude.
Some Hellbot kind of shit. Some
Oh,
Hellbot
it's,
action.
it's weird. It's one of them good rough ones. Like, it's mesmerizing. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. Welcome to the other side of the Beehive, guys.
They're like, let's get the fuck out of here, huh? let's go to a serious podcast. Let's go to Dalton's.
18,000 people just downloaded the George Lockhart podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out sponsorship.
Yeah, right.
No, I was gonna say because I went to I went to Wingstop.
Oh, you did it again, huh?
So I went to and I've been saying this for like 2 or 3 episodes, and I try to get some wings before I go home.
Yeah.
So I just stop, pick them up, and go home, right? But they put me on hold. Like I call from this parking lot, and they put me on hold, and I make it all the way to the place, and I'm still on hold.
Yeah.
And this is the 3rd time that I walk into the place, and there's nobody on the phone, and I've been waiting for 25 minutes. So I'm like, yo, what the
I would've
fuck?
Lost my
Yeah.
mind.
So finally, they gave me a better discount. Than
Oh, you
last
got
time.
more than the 10%?
Yeah. But on the way home, I took this one of the back roads to go home, and
So you could eat your wings in gourd so your wife didn't bitch at you for eating 22 wings.
my fucking truck
You
is full of
fat
grease.
fuck.
I tell everybody dry rub, but it's all like old barbecue in my fucking face. No, but there was this guy that was driving. I was driving behind this guy, and he pulled up, and I didn't think any of it, and I drove past him, right? So he goes behind me, and he turns his high beams on, and I'm thinking, oh, this guy thinks that because my truck is tall, small dick vibe, and this guy comes behind me and turns his beams, his high beams, and I'm like, what the fuck? So finally, he gets to be next to me on the light, and then he passed me. So I go behind him again, and I'm not flashing my lights, nothing. I'm
Yeah.
just, he does it again, lets me pass, goes behind me, and turns the lights off, right? So all of a sudden, we come to the next light, and he's behind me, pulls up right next to me, and he goes, hey, asshole. And I said, first of all, because I was already pissed, because they fuck up my wings. I said, first of all, these are not my high beams. My truck just happens to be taller than your car. 1, 2, the fact that you're behind me with your high beams on is not doing anything to me. Just so you know. And he got pissed and called me a retard and walked away. I was like, all right, whatever, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I was like,
careful
that was like the
That's
closest
why
I've
you-
been to a fight in the last 20 years.
That's why you need to go to Jiu Jitsu, because it's like, bro, get out of your car.
He
You don't
gets
see
out
what
and he's in a
happens?
hoodie. I'm all, yeah, I'm going to grab that hood and choke your ass out, bud.
That thing up.
Yeah, that hood. That's not gonna do. You know.
Did you
careful
did
nowadays.
you guys get to that to where someone is like, dude, I will kill you right now?
I mean, I think as you get older, that stuff just kind of like
Does,
it's
rolls
like,
off your back,
It's just
right?
like you're not gonna say it. Like it's just,
Yeah.
And nowadays, you just never know.
That's the
You
problem.
never know who that kid is. That's just gonna. I mean,
My wife will tell everybody that I'm 10 times calmer now.
Really?
But I think it's because, like, it's like a posturing thing, right? Like when it's like, if you don't know what you're doing, like you just want to look and be as tough as possible because you don't really want to
Yeah,
get into a
right,
fight, right? But now I'm just like, I'll never forget. It's like we were playing. It was a slow pitch softball game, and I only been training for like a year and a half, and this dude was just popping off to the smallest guy on our team, and I'm like, dude, why not start saying something to somebody that's like your size or whatever? And it got all broken up. It was no big deal. Like I wasn't being aggressive. And I'm like, dude, you're popping off to the smallest guy on our team. Like, what are you doing? And he was kind of a bigger guy. And I remember I was like, what if he would have done something? And I'm like, I would have strangled him. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I'm been doing jiu-jitsu for 1.5 years, and he's like, if he's not trained, like, you're getting strangled, dog.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's super calm, and I get a little heated sometimes. I do get a little hot-headed sometimes.
I did security at a bar for 6 years. You got to have thick skin.
What
bar?
bar?
Liquid Joe's.
Oh, okay.
And I worked at Southern too for about a year. The one on Beck Street. You know about that one.
I met my wife.
Yeah. No comment.
But this was like 17 years ago. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do go to Liquid Joe's as much as I can. I love Spasmatics.
Yeah, the Spasmatics.
Dude, I used to this has been 10 years when Metal Gods was really big.
Oh, yeah.
On Thursday nights.
Same people, right?
Same guys.
Yeah.
They
Some
swapped
of them.
lead singers.
Yeah.
The drummer was the lead singer at Spasmatics.
Marty the Party.
They did, man. That place was.
They packed that place, man. They packed
Thursdays
that
and
place.
Saturdays, line out the door. I get there at 8 o'clock, and we'd be throwing people out by 9, 10 o'clock at night. People are already drunk, and it's like, gotta go.
Speaking of throwing people, did you see what happened in the shop?
Oh, the dude pulled his dick out.
Yeah, and it was pissing. It was
You said that to me.
Yeah, pulled his dick
He was
out.
pissing on people's shoes.
I love Brendan Shaw.
The fact that he's
Okay.
like, what did his piece look like?
Yeah,
He's like, was it a big piece or a little piece?
It's a little piece.
Because that makes the difference. Because if it's a big piece, nobody gives a shit.
So it's a small
outta
piece.
here.
Get him out.
Get out of here.
Hey, how does your wife feel about the fact that you fight?
She'd be really happy if I just commentated.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's super supportive, man. Like she's great, and she's supportive. She's supportive of all of it, and she just wanted me to be healthy, and I found something that gets me in the gym, and I take care of my body now and be healthy, and so she's really happy with that. But at the same time too, I think anybody could relate to and imagine, because people are like, she's trained a few times with me and stuff, and people are like, what if your wife fought? I'm like, absolutely not. She's gorgeous.
I thought you were gonna say yes.
She's gorgeous. She's gonna get it. If I don't want her face get messed up at all, but like absolutely not. But she's really supportive. But I mean, she'll let people know, like, she's as calm as I am, and I'm pretty comfortable. Like, it's competition for me. Like, I'm always down to compete in anything. I'm one of those psychos that, like, I don't care if we're playing tiddlywinks with my 5-year-old. Like, I'm playing to win. Like, that's, we're getting down, and so she knows that's like, I'll be fine in there, but she says, when my music hits and they announce my name and my music hits, and right before I walk out, her anxiety skyrockets.
Oh, I can imagine.
I can imagine. And which ironically, that's when mine just goes away.
Really?
Absolutely. When you're in the back waiting, it's just like, it's a trip. It's because everything's going through your head. Like
Eric says that
it's
sitting backstage, it's when he got to him, but as soon as he walked out, he said it was just you step into another realm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have an option at that point.
Yeah,
right?
right.
Right? You're like,
Well, I'll sign up for this.
But I remember my third fight. I've talked about it on our podcast. Dude, I wanted to be anywhere on the planet but right there. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, I'm going to go get locked in a cage with another dude. Like, this is stupid. Zach, like, what are you doing? Like, let's think this through. Let's start reevaluating life decisions here. And, and that one had some, because I had some pretty nasty injuries going into that fight. And like one of my things is like, I don't pull out of fights. Like, people pull out of fights for injuries or whatever. Dude, if I can walk down and I can intelligently defend myself and I can in my head justify a way that I think I could pull off a win or whatever, like, I do not pull out of fights. And I had some nasty, and I just remember thinking, I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, mostly I don't say this to sound like, be like, I'm tough or whatever. I'm like in the back though. I'm like, dude, everybody else would have pulled out with this injury. Like, what am I doing here? Like, how stupid am I? Like, I'm the only one dumb enough to do this.
What has been your worst injury?
The week before that, so that third fight, the week before the fight, I separated and fractured my shoulder. We were doing some wrestling.
This guy knows
drills.
what you're talking about.
We were doing some wrestling drills, and one of my teammates, we were just doing takedown defense, and he did a little wrestling dump thing on, and all my weight came down on my left shoulder, and as a southpaw, like my whole game plan was to knock the dude out with the left. I couldn't even lift my arm up past here and my shoulder was separated, and I actually had a hairline fracture in it, and it was just concussions, been knocked out a few times in the training room. That's probably my worst injuries, but.
So, July 31st.
Yeah.
You're fighting for the AMI welterweight, right?
Yeah, 170 title fight.
170 title fight. Justin McDonald.
Yep.
What do you know about him? I mean, you guys know all about him, but anybody that doesn't listen, give us a rundown of kind of how he is.
He's 5-0. Heavy wrestler, heavy pressure fighter. His whole thing is he doesn't mess around with the striking a ton. He will run at you. He will put you against the cage. He will take you down. He will get on top of you, and he'll try and pound you out. That is his whole game. And he's 5-0 doing it. He's been very successful doing it. Some people have said that he's boring, but it's MMA, and your job is, if you don't want to be on bottom and stuck on bottom, figure out how to
figure it out, right?
Figure it out. And
I hate when people say that watch, it's boring, and it's like, well, there's a guy on the bottom that can't do anything. Because if you were in that position, if you can't do anything, in theory, you could end somebody's life, right?
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like that,
Really
right?
could. Yeah.
So don't give me this boring shit. It's all a chess match, man.
Yeah,
It really is. And once you start knowing what you're looking at, it gets more interesting.
I mean, I subscribe to the what Joe Rogan, a fight should never be stood up.
Right.
A fight,
Remember I said
if
that.
somebody's just holding somebody on the cage, dude, they worked for that position and they're in a dominant position. Make the guy figure out how to get off the cage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if a guy can't get up and the guy's not doing I understand it's a spectator sport, and there's got to be some form of entertainment. It's not super fun that if I get inside control and I can just lock you down and hold you, it's not the most entertaining thing in the world. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, maybe you should go on some jiu-jitsu and learn how to get an underhook and get up.
Right.
And I mean, it's easier said than done. And I'm saying this right now, knowing that most likely, that's what I'm up against next Saturday night. But, yeah, he's a heavy wrestler, but I mean, me and Justin are cool too, though. Our paths have crossed a few times, and we've been in the same. I think we've been fought on the same card, or been in the back room together. And dude, I mean,
you guys had him on your podcast.
He'll be coming on Friday
again.
Too. Yeah,
nice.
Not with me. He wasn't super comfortable with that.
Well,
but
he didn't really say he would, and I just didn't want to push it. He's like, well, how's that going to work with me fighting Zach? And I was like, well, a week before the fight, maybe it's not a good idea to have him on there. So
I mean, I did one of my past opponents. I was supposed to fight at the Maverick Center last November, and we had my opponent on. The card got canceled 48 hours before the card happened. But
Is that the one we went to?
No, it got canceled. The reschedule.
Oh,
you probably went to the reschedule one. But yeah. So I mean, But again, I'm at that point. I'm not his opponent. I'm the podcaster and I'm the interviewer.
Right.
Right. But and so I mean, again, it's competition. I don't hate my opponents. I don't have to hate them or whatever. But I am fully aware that they're in there to inflict damage on me, and it's my job to do it first.
Right.
You were saying that too, right? With Dre, that you wish.
I wish it was
the fights were until someone wins.
No time limits, and there's a ref in there just to keep everybody safe and go.
Lethway,
Don't stand exactly.
Lethway.
Don't stand him up. Let him figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of high-level jiu-jitsu matches that are no time limits.
Yeah.
Those are some of the greatest ones you've ever seen. We're talking 45 to an hour long.
Go watch Eddie Bravo and
Invitationals.
Gracie and stuff. Well, but no, even when Eddie Bravo used to compete, Hickson Gracie and Eddie Bravo and those 25, 30 minutes before one of them finally gets a submission or something, and just it's like let them
figure it out.
Yeah.
So
it's a chess match.
Yeah, I mean,
would that ever happen though?
From a TV and production standpoint, no. Because that was the problem. Is UFC used to be there's no rounds, no time limit, like for UFC 1, right? Dude, that's really hard to put on air because it's like how much airtime you get, how much you know what I mean? Like you don't know, like so what? The night could go an hour and a half, or you get two fatties that run out of gas and like can't breathe. And I mean, what do you do? Time out and give them oxygen masks? Like, I don't know. I mean, there's levels to it, but I mean, I think there would be a ton of intrigue if you had high level athletes. If you just said, "Go."
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so we have this potential matchup with like Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. Go.
Yeah.
Dude, that fight for sure is going to end, and it's going to be awesome. If you take the rounds and the break, that minute break out of it, dude, I mean, that's
Who do you guys
sign me
have?
up.
Who do you have on that?
I haven't officially made my pick, but I'm leaning Oliveira in that one.
All over Poirier.
And I'm having a hard time because
You're
I'm
a Poirier
both
guy?
of those guys.
Charlie Olives?
I'm
I'm leaning Oliveira. He's more Poirier, but that could change.
What did you guys have on the last one?
Poirier. We're all
We're all we cashed hard
Ray
on that.
Charles can see that one coming. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, I didn't even think twice about that. He
No.
actually was telling me that he
I
was
was trying.
and I'm like, bro, like, no.
I love Connor. I tried to name both I have the three boys. I tried to name my second
both.
and third one Connor. My wife wasn't having it. I love Connor. And I was trying to figure out in my head, I'm like, well, maybe. And then even the day before, though, like when you're podcast, I'm like, dude, there's no way. I'm like, it's just not going to happen. Like, you just do. It's not going to happen.
You can't take that much time off at that level and come back and try to compete with,
Right.
Speaking of time off,
unless you're
Misha Tate won.
Unless you're
Dude.
Misha Tate.
Cupcake.
How good
She
did
also
she
fought
look?
a 44-year-old who
And
was
she
on a
did,
4-fight
and she
losing
did.
streak.
Oh, really?
And
But-
I mean,
that-
dude, that was a
She didn't jump back
hand-picked.
into the top 5.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That was a hand-picked opponent
Yeah.
to get her on the winning track. That was they gave her a very winnable fight. Where it's like, hey, Connor, you haven't fought in 3 years? Go fight Khabib. You know what I mean?
Look when they did with Connor and
Cerrone.
Donald Cerrone.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
basically,
that
it's
was
like,
sad.
come on. It's
It
like,
was sad.
you know what you're getting in this one. Connor's going to mop him.
Cerrone is my boy's boy.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my dude.
That's your boy?
That's my dude.
Hey, I love
dude.
Yeah.
Just
Done, but I love
game.
him.
Oh yeah. I mean,
He's
it's,
just a
we
fighter's
knew,
fighter.
but it and that's it. He's
Yeah.
just game. There's if you could ever take a mindset of a fighter who's just okay,
Yeah.
and put him in.
Give me that guy.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Who
Yeah.
do you guys got? Poirier and Oliveira.
Poirier.
Poirier?
Yeah,
You
I'm
too?
a Poirier dude. I mean,
I just.
first off, he's in my mind, he's the greatest guy in MMA, bar
100%.
none, right?
He's probably my favorite fighter.
And a dog, just a dog, and the way he's progressed through he's at peak right now.
Yeah.
I think he's the best he's ever been at this point.
I'm not. I can't.
Charlie
disagree with
Olive's
that.
got some shit though, man.
He's been this. He's basically on the same. Both kind of on the same path.
Striking has
Start-
been crisp the last few fights. I mean, he was always known as a Jiu Jitsu guy.
Yeah,
but
but
looks
his striking's
crisp.
looked good. That's kind of where I'm like, I think he's a little bit better on his feet, but he's like Dustin's bigger, and I'm like, I don't know, Oliveira's pretty. I'm like, I just.
You know what turned it off for me?
What's that?
You see the coat he was wearing over at the fights? His jacket with all the golden lace and shit. I says, I'm sorry, dude. I can't ride with that. And anybody that wears, and I love Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
Anybody that wears sunglasses inside,
I'm out.
I
Yeah.
can't ride with you.
Yeah, that's
I'm
easy.
out, dude. Sorry.
I'm out, dog.
We have a couple friends do that. Huh?
Yeah. Dude,
don't
is
get
he is he in the screen?
I don't get that phenomenon.
You might scoot over just a little bit. I know that makes it uncomfortable.
good.
I apologize. Okay, you're good. Sorry.
Oh, we're good, dog.
He's 40. He's losing his vision.
Getting old, man. I'm getting old.
What do you guys usually do for? You guys get together for fights to watch
Not
UFC?
very often. We've watched a few together.
Oh, you guys are shitty
just 'cause
friends, huh?
He's so far north, and I'm so
Yeah,
far
that's
south.
what
It's
makes it
like,
tough.
and then I'm such a homebody. It's like,
Yeah.
We
and
both are.
it's hard to go places and watch fights with a lot of
Yes,
people because
dude.
Yes.
we're
Oh my
both like,
gosh.
and we got invited to some friend's house to for the pay-per-view, and they had it at their apartment complex. Gray set up and everything, and he's like, yeah, didn't give us a time, just said when the prelims start. Well, he was talking about the regular prelims. I'm thinking of the early prelims that start at
Because we watch
4:30.
every single
I
fight.
pull
dog.
up and I'm like, hey, where do I go? And he's like, prelims don't start till 6. I'm like, It's 4:30. The prelims are on now, dog.
Oh man, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's
he let
heartbreaking.
me in and stuff, but everybody didn't show up till like 8 till like the pay-per-view started.
No one
I'm
has
here at
showered.
4:30, just
No
like
one
a
has
nerd.
showered. The house is dirty and shit.
It's like when you look at the crowd and you see him filter in as the
Yeah.
main 2 or 3 last
like,
fights.
what are you
it's heartbreaking,
doing,
isn't
bro?
We're
it?
watching
Yeah.
every fight. First of all, we got our app up, the betting app up,
Yeah.
to make our bets, see who's winning, so I know how much more money I can spend the rest of the night.
So bad. But I have a really, really hard time. I used to, it's like, you get all the guys get together, watch the fight, and it's like, and then you learn more and more about it, and then you get really educated on it, and then you hear the ignorant comments from people that I love,
Oh, yeah.
and they say stuff, and I'm just like, get up.
Yeah.
You get up. Like, stand him up.
Yeah.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah, punch him.
Yeah, there's always.
Twist his dick.
I like,
Dude, is that not the greatest video ever?
Greatest video.
Just his dick up. You guys are what?
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, this is MMA,
Yeah, oh my
dude.
gosh.
we usually get together because one of our friends is a DJ and he DJs on a bar named Sue.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
we usually get together. And for the Connor fight, there was like all together there was like 7 podcasts there.
Oh, damn.
And that's something that him and I have been trying to do for the longest time, just get podcasts together and network and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's cool.
doing it over the fights, it kind of works because we're all get together.
Yeah.
But there's some people that obviously they're just focused, right?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'll go just to hang out with the buddies.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, I do lose that guy just like this when Connor broke his leg.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing him in the ground, and I was like, I want to hear what he says.
Yeah.
And everybody's already dancing, and she was like,
yeah.
fuck, man.
Yeah.
But I still like to just hang out with the guys and shit. But yeah,
So
but I hear what
us-
you're saying.
Usually when we get together, it's like me and him and like fighters.
It's usually other fighters too, so
And
they
so it's
watch.
just like-
Yeah,
so
so
it's
they
like-
know how to watch it.
We're trying to pay attention because we got to talk about it on Monday
Right,
morning. So
right.
we want every little angle. We want to listen to the post fight interviews. Like we want all the information so we can talk about it.
So do you
Right.
guys record? And I'm only asking this because Justin was talking to you guys last Friday. Do you guys record on Monday and it's instantly out?
we go live.
We go live.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna
that's
say,
right.
that's
That's
We're
right.
live
That's
on
right.
YouTube and
That's
our
what-
Facebook.
I wanted to
That's right.
ask, when you do it live, doesn't it freak you out a little
do
bit
it live.
that
No.
you're gonna say something that
I hope I do.
We're pretty. We try to keep it pretty straight. Now we let our guests. We tell them this is your podcast. Like you've probably heard.
yes.
Have you heard the Steve?
I have.
Sharp?
I was going to bring that
gonna
up.
say,
One of the
most
greatest
downloaded-
podcasts ever, by the
Uncle
way.
Steve Sharp. Go listen to it. I can't remember the number it is, but
So good.
yeah, we just say, hey, you can say whatever you want. This is your time. This is for you. This platform is for you. But yeah, we just I'll edit it after and then I upload it to I upload it to Podbean and shoot it out to Spotify and
Yeah,
iTunes and all that stuff. But yeah, the initial is just
Yeah.
Facebook and YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. I'm pretty we're pretty comfortable. I mean, some of our first episodes, maybe if we went back and listened to them now, I'm sure it'd be pretty rough.
Have you
but
ever done that?
You guys be
Listen
canceled.
to
Not
yourself?
in a long time. I
Do you
probably
guys
should.
listen to your own shit after it's done?
No, I haven't in over a year.
I haven't in a while, but I'm starting to try to listen to more because I want clips for like our TikTok,
Oh,
and
yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
Twitter because we're trying.
Oh
to,
yeah, we make the clips, but like sit down and like listen to it and be like, but I mean, it just is what it. Like our whole thing was, it's like we're just two buddies having an MMA conversation. Like who
Yeah.
cares if we say something? Like I might say some things about it's not super politically correct and whatever. But it's like if you don't like it, don't listen, dude.
Exactly.
Like, I don't
we,
care.
had, we had our first hater 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I remember you guys
What did they
talking
say?
about that.
Some guy said
See, I
it
got
was
a little
corny
hot
or
with that.
something. He's banned, so I sent him a message. He's like, "Oh, did you say something?" I'm like, "Let him. He's our first hater, so I'll just give him a shout
I'm
out
in
on the
Facebook
podcast."
jail right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What gets you in jail? Facebook. Oh,
The
Facebook jail.
cyberbully over here.
Oh, is that what it
Freaking
is?
wieners. First off, if you have a fake profile that's you don't have a real name on there, and you don't have like a real profile picture on there, like it's like a meme or whatever, but you don't actually show your face on there, and then you're talking like, you're talking smack to people,
Like Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, sure. No, it's Kevin Durant, right?
Kevin Durant.
Sorry.
Yeah.
KD. But I was just like, dude, I told somebody, I'm like, your opinion isn't relevant. Like, you don't have the balls to put your name and your face to something, then like your opinion automatically irrelevant. And second of all, like, he was a Colby Covington hater and that's fine because that's what Colby's trying to do is get haters, right, to be relevant.
Right.
And I was just like, end of the day, love him, hate him, whatever. Like, he gave Usman's toughest fight
he did.
in the
Toughest
UFC,
fight.
period. And all of a sudden, boom, 30-day Facebook jail. I'm like, bro, you got to be kidding me. And people are like, what'd you do this time? And I'd show them like the comment that I got put in jail for. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm just like, I am in the algorithm now. I cannot say
do you
anything.
ever remember of a hater?
We won't talk about it.
It was that one
We had a
time.
dude call our podcast
He
corny.
said corny. He's like corny or something. And
And I'm just like, cool.
10 years ago, I probably would
Piss
have
off.
mouthed off, but it's like, well, let him. It's
To me, it's like, look what you guys have built.
yeah.
You have your own podcast. You guys are driven. You obviously don't give a shit what people are saying. And then there's some dumb fuck sitting in his computer, probably in his mother's basement.
Exactly.
Right? And he's going to tell you you're corny.
Yeah.
For God's sakes. Yeah, we don't.
Probably don't know how to fight.
You know.
We started it as, just like he said, just two guys. We just want to talk MMA. Like,
Right.
we're not expecting anything out of this.
Yeah.
We don't need pats on the back. We just,
And at first, we used to like look at downloads, like, oh, this is cool. Like, we got this many downloads, like whatever, this and that. Dude, I don't even think we probably haven't looked at how many downloads and stuff in over 6 months.
We
Like,
stopped
I'm just
doing
like,
that, too.
It's like I just don't care.
cares?
We're having fun. We're gonna do our thing
Yeah.
anyways. Like, I just don't
and
care.
it's obviously growing because we're getting guys from out of state now reaching out to us, and we got
It's good enough for me, man.
managers
I
reaching out to us.
I happen to glance, even though I don't really mean to, because every time I upload the episode, it shows the rest of them.
Yep.
So I kind of go, oh, okay, but sometimes it's surprising because us raw as we're in here, nobody has ever had a problem with it. I mean, and we talk.
We've been pretty outlandish
We were pretty
sometimes.
Do
Bad.
you guys throw them on YouTube too?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
videos? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sweet.
Yeah.
That's kind of our next step, is to try to build the YouTube channel, because so that we can start to like really grow and
Right.
hopefully give back more to the MMA community.
It's funny because I've had a couple people come up to me and he says, I don't know why I listen to you guys. I'd rather just watch you.
Yeah.
And so that way I can see exactly what you guys are doing. Because sometimes we're like, look at this. And like, we don't think about it, right? Because I'm like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
But the people that are listening is like, look at what?
Yeah.
And obviously, our views have kind of bumped up a little
Yeah.
bit. So it's like, because people are like, well, I want to see exactly what they're talking about.
My grandma, who's 83 years old in Michigan, watches every one of them. She'll comment
Really?
every now and then.
God bless her heart. Shout out, Grandma.
She'll comment. Sometimes is Zach okay? Zach didn't look right on that podcast or something. It's like, she catches every little thing.
That's funny.
Watch every one of them. My mom's like,
Grandma podcast.
My mom's like, is serious about it. She has a list. She keeps a list of her favorite fighters.
Oh, there you go.
I
Oh,
like this.
nice.
She wants to know if these three guys we have.
Aleko.
Aleko Poinar, who's a guy that we sponsor, stud out of Vegas. Mitch Ramirez. I don't know if you guys know Mitch, who just fought this past weekend. And then my coach Mina, she has her on there too. She's got her little list. She wants to know when they're fighting, how they do, and
So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I listen to it because if she picks out how their interviews go,
Right.
and she really liked that Aleko kid. She was the first one. She's like, I really like that kid, well spoken and just driven. And it's like, he is like, you get that,
Dude, yeah.
I kind of have to. I force not force, but I listen because I do the clips that we put on Instagram.
Yeah.
So as I'm listening, I'm like, oh, there's a clip right there, and I just like basically look at the time, and I'm like, oh, I'll go to that one.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
But it's kind of weird because we never had. I don't think we've had a lot of people that come and say, oh yeah, we record and then we upload and then we listen to it. I think we just stopped doing it, but I think I'm one of the few that kind of keeps doing it. You know what I mean?
I'll start to do it more just because of that. Because we're trying to, like I said, we have a marketing guy that we brought on who's a freaking stud. He's like, you guys need to get more active on social media, and we're both just like, I don't want to put this shit on, like TikTok.
It's weird. It's
whatever.
weird. Yeah.
It's the way it goes now.
It really is.
Everybody says that's what drives it.
Yeah.
You've got to be active. Even if it's a meme
Yeah.
or a little clip. You've got to always be putting something out there. You've always got to keep your podcast fresh on people's minds, right?
Maybe we need some girls in bikinis and.
Right.
Oh god.
Well, you got me.
Or
You got
dudes.
you got
Or
me.
dudes.
You got me
Come on,
once.
man.
I guess.
Hey, you've stood on stage all bronzed up in a speedo.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Speedo
were
on,
on
I
board
had on
shorts.
shorts that went down to my knees. I
Did
do
you go
the Speedo
blackface?
thing. I had to do the blackface.
You went
yeah.
blackface?
Had to do
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
blackface.
God bless you.
Damn,
God
man.
bless you.
Blackface.
Look at you.
That is a pretty gnarly tan you have to get for those shows.
Jason.
Yeah.
We got a buddy who's been on the podcast,
Yeah.
and he's a bodybuilder. And
Okay.
Yeah, I says, you got to go blackface? He's like, I think I have to. I don't think I have a choice.
You
And he
don't-
explained
well,
that
I will say,
it makes it so much
especially
more
when it's
defined.
base-
The
Pasty
face
white.
isn't as dark. The face they do spray over it, but not as much as the rest of your
Yeah.
body. So your face is not technically a black face. Your body though, I'm pretty pasty white. Yeah, that's and it stays on too. For
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Days.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's all over.
When was the last time you did it?
I competed. The last time I competed was November of 2018. I went to back to Miami.
Excuse me real quick, because I'm drinking a billion gallons.
No, you were
Oh,
good,
yeah,
man.
Go ahead, dude. I
Don't
got the
step
door
out.
locked, but go ahead and.
We
Yeah.
know you guys are on a time budget. We won't keep you too much longer.
No, we're good. Miami was my last competition, and I kind of honestly I got more hooked into MMA the last.
Really?
Yeah. I tore my Achilles in 2019. Was gonna go compete again, and then I just started looking at the ROI on competing, and it's just like it's not for what, at my
Right.
age. Like, what am I gonna get out of it at my age? Like, okay, I look great. Yay, I got a little trophy. I'm like, I'm not
Right.
making any money off of it. Like, you don't get money for winning these shows.
Right.
I mean, let's just say,
You have to get to a
the
certain
Mr.
level,
Olympia.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, let's just say I make it to the Olympia. For my division, if I won my division, it's like 50 grand. Like, what's that going to do for me? Like,
Yeah.
I'd probably spend that in
Oh, yeah.
supplements and
Oh,
gear
yeah.
and food and coach. Like,
Right.
it's just not I can say it on your guys' podcast. The fitness community is fake. What I've learned.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of like, hey, look at me. Like look at my abs. Like look at how much I can lift. And then I start to go into these gyms, these MMA gyms, and it's just it's all about respect. And it's nobody's trying to, hey, look what I can do. Look, I can, Zach can kick my ass, but he's not going around bragging to people that he can choke me out.
Right.
How long you guys known each other? I know we went over this, but
It's been probably about 3 years now.
okay.
Maybe 2 years now, because we talked about doing a podcast. Yeah, probably about 3 years now.
Nice.
We had that booth, and we got to know each other talking about sports, when our booths was next to each other, and then we're like, hey, let's do a podcast, and we stayed in touch. And finally, one day, I'm like, okay, I booked the room. Salt Lake Community College, we're doing it. Like we're just running with this, and it just
Snowballed from
just
there.
snowballed, man, and it's
Nice.
just
It's
grown
addicted,
to
huh?
like it is.
Yeah.
It's like we go a couple days without because we used to record Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and now we're like,
Holy
all right,
shit.
let's do Mondays and Fridays, and let's just jam as many as we can on those days, and let's just call it a day. But then we get to Fridays after recording, it's like, damn, kind of want to record again.
Right.
So when it comes to the different companies per se, like the UFC or the Bellator,
Yeah.
and even the locals, is there fights every week?
There's not very many weeks out of the year that there's not some type
Okay.
of fight that we can watch between
Okay.
PFL, Bellator, LFA. You got one championship. There's always something going on.
Cage Fury.
Cage Fury. Yeah, there's local promotions. Like
Well,
you
and
have an Amazon Fire Stick that's special. You can catch some of the events from across the nation.
Ah, there you go.
I don't know about
Here's the
that.
plug.
may or may or not. have
May
a
or may
couple-
not have
Allegedly.
Cannot
Allegedly.
confirm nor deny,
Yeah.
but definitely do. The
Talk after.
the little. You have to forgive us because we both drink a lot. I'm drinking a gallon, doing a gallon and a half of water, preparing my body for this weight cut.
Yeah, hey, go ahead.
So it's like
I'm surprised Justin hasn't left.
we drink a lot of water, and he's just a health nut. But no, it's there's always fights. So what people don't understand, maybe people don't understand the business side of the UFC is when COVID happened and shows started getting canceled, they were contracted to get their baseline per show from
Right.
ESPN. They had to put on X amount of shows per year. Well, that was getting really tight.
Right.
With the COVID cancellation. So once they figured out how to put shows on so that they could, Dana was like, yeah, we were the only ones doing it. They didn't really have a choice.
Right.
I mean, props
Right.
to Dana. I'm a big Dana fan.
Oh,
I know
me
a lot of
too.
people
Me
hate him,
too.
but I love Dana White. I think,
Oh, dude.
I think he's the man, and I think a lot of people just don't understand what you have to deal with being the boss. But I respect the heck out of him, and he but that's what people don't understand. I mean, I don't remember people like Fight Island. There would be fights like Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, right? It's because by contract with ESPN to get their $500,000 per show base that they'd get paid by ESPN to put on a show that they had to. And then it was like, because I think there was a little stigma before. It was like, well, how much is too much?
Right.
And then once Dana realized this, he's like, dude, people will eat this up and they will watch it every freaking weekend and get pumped every weekend to watch it. He's like, why not do it every weekend?
Yeah.
Like, it just gets the fighter, it makes them more money. It gets more fighters opportunity. You can pay fighters more. It gives the ability for some fighters to be more active. You know, Kevin Holland made a killing and a great brand of himself in the UFC by fighting 5 times last year. Just capitalizing on opportunity. And, you know, the people that wanted to all capitalized during COVID in MMA and with the UFC.
I truly believe that when the NBA came back, they used that blueprint.
100%.
That the UFC had.
Yep.
You know, bubbling people up, testing people, and then no audience, but still putting on a good show. It was the saving grace of COVID.
Dude, WWE did it.
Yep.
I don't really. Ironically, I used to follow WWE. And then I got into MMA, and now I'm just like, nope. But they did it.
Our producer would be having a fit right
is,
now. He is
he's a
the wrestling man.
Dude, I grew up loving it. My
used to be the
dad.
man
So
back
my
in the day.
dad, my parents both, but my dad's like, my dad hates that I fight. He hates it. He just thinks it's super unnecessary, and it's just not his thing. I'm like, dude, you raised me on WCW and WWE. Like, what did you think I was going to grow up to be, bro? Like,
Tables, ladders, and chairs, dude.
Oh, yeah. Like, you know, like, talk about the Maverick Center when it was the E Center. I was at the E Center when Goldberg was, you know, spearing, jackhammering the Big Show and NWO and beating up Bret Hart and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I grew up wanting to be the Ultimate Warrior, you know. So it's.
I just watched his.
I was Brutus Barber Beefcake, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
I was a Stone
British
Cold Steve
Bulldogs.
Austin. I was a Stone Cold Steve Austin Slug.
Oh, yeah.
We were a little bit before
Austin
you guys.
316, baby.
Yeah,
all those guys.
Our producer is just, that's all he breathes, sleeps, eats.
So,
wrestling.
what's next for the podcast?
We have a lot of big things in the pipeline.
I know you said that you're going to start working on YouTube, start pushing that a little bit more.
Trying to grow that a little bit more. I think the point that we're at right now with the podcast is like we're seeing the potential that it could have, and what, you know, the more we can get from sponsors and the more views that we can get, it's just the more that we can do to help out, you know, an up and coming fighter that's maybe can't, you know, pay for a gym for a month, or, you know, maybe needs a little bit of help with whatever it is.
We have some ideas. Like, one thing we've talked about, you know, doing scholarships for kids that are getting bullied at school, and having the platform, you know, be a voice for, you know, one, bullying's not cool, and two, like, we're gonna get those kids in some MMA gym, because kids that are getting bullied, like, we're gonna find some of those kids and get them connected with some gyms that will, you know, take care of them. But and then the other side of it, like, we started this with like our hashtag and our everything was, you know, was like, this is for the fighters,
right,
dude? People don't understand. You don't understand. I'm grateful that I get to do this as a hobby, and I love the sport, and I love to compete, and I do this. There are fighters that are trying to make this their livelihood. The conditions suck.
Yeah.
You know, they don't make any money. They don't really have the guidance of on, you know, like, I do pretty well for myself, but I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I've started a couple businesses. I've sold a couple businesses. I do my own thing. Like, so when you talk about like being an amateur fighter, like I know how to get sponsorships. I know how to make deals. I know how to negotiate. I know how to market myself. I know how to do all those things. Well, 95% of fighters, they don't have those skills. They don't have those abilities naturally, but they're all capable of doing it. We want to be those guys. As Jason too is an entrepreneur, and, you know, stuff too. We want to be those guys that help them with what they can't do themselves, and then point them in the direction of like, you do we want to build a format to be like, with our platform and getting them out there and stuff, be like, hey, you do ABC. It's going to put some extra money in your pocket when, you know, maybe you can't fight for 6 months because of an injury. You're out for a year because of an injury. You know, I mean, gosh, how many fighters will, you know, we have a local guy, Cole Schaefer. He's just got married. He's got his first kid on the way. Yeah. You know, COVID happened. Like, dude, he should be 7-8 fights into his pro career. And now, he's only
two fights in the last
4 into his pro career. Like, that's not just like bummer. That's like dude, you just missed a year out of your prime. Right. And like, you know, and like that could be the difference of right now you're still fighting on local shows. Like you could be borderline knocking on the door of the UFC right now if he hadn't missed that time in the cage.
Right.
There's gotta be something, there's gotta be an easier path. Not easier because the pressure makes diamonds, right? Like, right. But there's gotta be a way to make it a little more doable. I'm convinced of this, that there are so many killers that could be contenders in the UFC and stuff like that just never had the structure or the path to get there. If we can even help a handful of those guys, of people that would have fallen off because they just didn't have any resources to get them there, and we can help get them there, dude, like, and that's it.
Trying to cover every angle from marketing to obviously since I've been doing nutrition, a lot of it's just been with the average person. And I started getting in, I did the Lockhart Lee thing so that I can help some of these guys with their nutrition. Cause that's a big thing too. Not only are they lacking in that area, in the advertisement and marketing area, a lot of these guys, they know nothing about the nutrition.
Right.
Coaches too, and that's not a knock on these guys. Right. They just don't. It's like, hey, just cut your carbs for your fight camp.
It's still so new.
And they're killing themselves.
Ask Eric. He's like, dude, I feel freaking amazing. I gave him a meal plan, gave him some food. I'm like, bro, you have to eat. You have to feed the machine. Like that's my motto. I tell everybody, feed the machine. Your body is a machine. You have to feed it.
I mean, I'm cutting down from 185 to 170 for the first time. And people are like, are you just dying? Like, and I'm like, no.
Oh, my conversation with him every night. How you feeling? He's like, I feel good. I'm like, are you eating? Like, yeah, I'm eating. Did you eat carbs? Yeah, I ate carbs. Like every day, I'm making sure everything is there, because the worst thing you can do as a fighter or as a competitor, bodybuilder, any kind of competitor, is try to starve yourself to get to that point. You're not doing your body any good.
It's a Formula One car. You don't put shit fuel in it, right?
That's
exactly.
Right. Or less fuel to make it lighter.
But trying to explain that to these guys that maybe they wrestled in high school and that those are the tactics that they use. Yeah. And then they get into an MMA gym and their coach is like, oh, you got to fight in 8 weeks? Okay, cut out all your carbs and just eat chicken and broccoli for 8 weeks. Okay, you're going to get there, but you're going to look like shit. You're going to feel like shit. And then you're going to gain all that back plus more because you've lost muscle during that 8 weeks. And now instead of losing that 30 pounds, now you're going to gain back 50.
Right.
And you're going to look like a freaking 5-pound bag of potato salad stuffed in a 2.5-pound bag.
How many fighters?
He said that while he was looking at me.
He was looking at me when he said that.
Anyway, what's going on?
You motherfucker.
Sucking his gut. No, he wasn't flexing. He was sucking his gut in.
He's on the other side of the beer.
Wingstop, damn it.
Yeah. No, but I'm like, how many fighters didn't know how to weight cut properly and have like those tools and resources available to them that got knocked out and lost to dudes that they should have beat if their body was just it was just able to perform, 10, 15, 20% better. Like, how many guys aren't fighting in the appropriate weight classes because they don't know how to get to the appropriate weight class, or they think I have to cut weight so I can be huge. But I mean, go look at the UFC. Robert Whittaker used to fight at welterweight. Wasn't great. Went up to 185.
Monster. Bobby Knuckles.
Look at Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Like Charles Oliveira, they go up to 155.
I mean, the higher level you go, the more important the weight class. Too many guys I think we're finally seeing a little bit of a correction where guys are like, no, I just need to perform better. Like, I'll feel better. I just don't cut so much. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many guys, though, that didn't even get that chance to get to the UFC because they were doing things the wrong way, but trusting uneducated people, maybe, like, whatever. Like, we just want to become like that one-stop shop for fighters to be like, that, dude, we got you. Like, if something's not going right, like, we got you. Everybody's going to lose in MMA unless your name's Khabib. Like, no, but like everybody, like our boy Aleko. he just fought a guy that, I think most people would have considered him the favorite, and he was doing work. Got caught by a knee. The kid that he fought placed a well-timed knee to his chin, got caught by a knee and put him out. Stuff happens.
Right.
But he's going to be fine. He's on the right track.
Yeah.
We want to help him, keep him on the right track and do what we have to do. But we also want to help those guys that, maybe are losing fights they shouldn't lose. Yeah, help those guys and get them on that track through teaching them marketing, getting them sponsorships, helping them with things like that, with our company's resources, the networking that we've done, but also, helping with the nutrition and helping, making sure they're in the right gym, surrounded by the right people too, because that happens a lot too.
You guys have spearheaded an avenue that nobody's going down that road, and I think you have the right attitude. You guys are smart. I think you guys have something really special here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We believe in it.
Yeah.
Do you have? Not I mean to put you on the spot. You don't have to answer. Do you have like a timeline or when you're gonna stop or
stop what?
Yeah,
Fighting. So I get asked this a lot. I always tell people every fight could be my last.
Right.
I don't know. It's for me. One, if it ever becomes not fun,
okay,
I'm done. Right? Like if fighting isn't fun, but at the end, I'm not even close to that yet. I like getting hit in the face, and I like hitting people in the face.
Yeah.
I dig it.
You're a special breed, my friend. God bless you.
I used to hate it. I used to hate it, but now it's like my wife doesn't like to hear this, and I know a lot of people don't. Like, I haven't had it yet, and I hope Justin's this guy, but like, I want one freaking just dog fight. Like Nate Diaz Connor, two. Like, I just want a freaking dog fight, and I'll
fucking Clay Guida, fucking Diego Sanchez.
I want to fight. I want to be covered in blood, my blood, his blood. Like I want a freaking dog fight. Like there's things in that cage that I still want to experience that I haven't yet, and I hope those things happen. But I do mostly just tell people when I feel like I've reached my ceiling. And I'm like, okay, like I'm at a level where I can't beat guys at the next level.
Right.
Or I start losing to guys that I'm like, okay, now I know where my level's at. And at times, like sometimes, and it's a roller coaster of emotions fighting. And sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I'm getting close to that. And then I go with some people, I went and did some sparring rounds trying to get ready for that fight at the Maverick Center. I was going down some sparring rounds with Cole Schaefer and Justin Ledet, and who Justin Ledet was fighting at 205 in the UFC, fought on his last fight for the UFC was on Halloween. And I went and got sparring rounds with him, and I didn't win the rounds by any round, but I held my own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like let's go, let's go. So that, like, as far as fighting, like I said, dude, if this fight doesn't go my way, and I look at it and be like, you know what? Not only did I not win on that night, like, that guy's better than me, and now I know where my ceiling is. Like, who knows? Who knows? Every fight could be my last fight, but I don't think I'm close yet.
Nice. Have you ever been starstruck? I'm meeting a fighter.
Ooh,
I don't think I've met anybody that's. We did get to go meet when we flew to California. It was pretty awesome meeting Higan Machado.
I can imagine. So
Jean-Jacques Machado.
We went to Higan Machado's. We went to lunch with Higan Machado
In Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, and we're like at lunch. It's
we're with one of the top jiu-jitsu guys in the
What,
world.
top
legend.
six?
A real legend.
A legend. And then not only that, we got to meet Danny Ensenado,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee's,
Yeah.
one of Bruce Lee's students.
Yeah.
Training partner and student. Yeah, we got to meet him there at
We're
that.
like, this is pretty freaking
It's
cool,
like,
man.
Come on, dog.
I met, and a lot of people go, I met Dean Lister.
That's
My God, man. And he was at that Pride show, and he's why I went to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because he was the coolest guy.
His Instagram is hilarious. If you
And
follow him on Instagram.
his head was a cement
Cantaloupe.
block.
Oh, it's
It was the biggest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. No shoulder.
Yeah.
His head, I swear to God, it was this long, this big ass lips, and he was the coolest guy in the
yeah,
world.
man. Like, you know what? Court McGee.
Yeah.
He's a local guy. He started with my coach Aldo, up at One Hit MMA in Layton. Court's from Layton. He started there. He showed up at our gym and ran class one night.
Wow.
And he just showed up. He's like, "What are you guys doing tonight?" We're like, "Whatever you tell us to
Right?
do." Dude. You're freaking Court McGee. You're in the UFC. You know, you won the Ultimate Fighter. And he ran us through a class. That was probably one of those ones, like, I'm doing wrestling drills with Court McGee. And I'm
Wow.
like, I'm doing freaking wrestling drills with Court
Wow.
McGee right now? Like,
A
that's pretty
Utah
wild.
legend, let alone UFC legend, but I mean, for here.
Probably from here, it's him and Josh Berkman, probably,
Yeah,
right?
They're probably the
Yep.
two.
The two top dogs, and you know, there's a wave coming, but Jeremy Horn, my bad, right?
But he wasn't born here, though, right?
Jeremy Horn's not a born and bred. Yeah, I mean, like, Court McGee's like a, you know, he went to
Right.
Layton High School. He grew
Yeah.
up here. So,
I tried to think we made it big time, and we were at the price shows, and Jordan Levitt from the UFC, the Monkey Kid, was commentating with him. So
Right.
we're sitting at the table. And this little kid comes up to take a picture with Jordan Levitt. I'm like, "You don't want a picture with me? You don't know who I am?" He's like, "No, I don't know who you are."
He's all, are you reffing?
Damn, bro. Damn.
Hey, listen, the damage plan, before we go, we do this to every single guest that comes here.
And you have to do it.
Because
This
the
is-
other side of the
this is-
Beehive
all right.
is all about finding the gay in all of us. So
Take your pants off.
we need to
So
know
we're just-
if you guys will kiss each other. I'm just kidding. Which are your guys' man crush?
Everybody's got a man
The
crush.
Rock.
God
Dwayne Johnson.
damn
Everybody
it,
says
dude.
The Rock, dude.
Dude,
How
I
can
grew
you
up
not like-
I grew up idolizing him. I learned how to raise one eyebrow.
He did it.
Like, are you
I
kidding
can
me?
do the eyebrow, but
I
I'd have
mean-
to
I
say
can't do
that
the eyebrow.
I-
He
The
can't
Rock
too,
would
huh?
probably be the guy.
I mean, if you guys come to my fight, you will hear.
The Rock will be there?
No,
Oh.
you will hear the announcer call me the People's Champ.
The People's Champ.
Oh.
We're trying to get that changed to the voice of MMA in Utah.
I was gonna say that's what I know you by.
Just saying.
And the coolest part about that is that's how I
people's
was,
voice.
That's how I was announced in my last fight. I didn't say, like, I did not give myself that nickname. They gave it to me.
Oh,
What's your
nice.
nickname? What's
Gave
your
it to me.
nickname?
I don't know.
The cyber bully.
The cyber, it's not the cyber
Yeah.
Cyber bully.
No,
Coming from
it's
Facebook
gonna be
jail.
I don't know.
Because it's your opponent, Justin the Lumberjack,
The
right?
lumberjack, yeah.
Yeah, the
the
lumberjack.
lumberjack.
And when I saw that interview, I'm like, he looks like a lumberjack.
He does.
He does. He
He does
fits
kind
the
of fit
bill.
the description of that.
But I'm like the dad, right? Like, dude, I'm a freaking insurance agent, father of 3. I got 3 boys.
The insurance agent.
We
There you go,
tell
there you
people-
go.
we tell people all the time, we're like, just look, who would you think was the fighter out of both of us?
Dude,
Like,
it's
just
him.
look at it. Everybody would look and think it was me. I'm like, no.
The active Mormon boy or the tatted up.
We got a shirt. We have the shirt being made. We're gonna have this copyright. So
Oh,
don't
there we
steal
go,
it.
there we go.
Muscles don't win fights. That's gonna.
Oh, guys,
I
speaking
like
of shirts, before we get to your crush, we got shirts. Which one? This one's mine.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you can get those on your website.
Absolutely.
DamagePlanMMA.com.
There you
What's
go.
your, so who's your man crush?
I'm on The Rock. I gotta go with The Rock.
Really?
Everybody's still like
Dude,
The Rock, man.
that's lame.
Really?
You stole mine, dog.
Dude,
I mean,
we have like 10 people
who
say
else?
The Rock.
What are other people
it's
picking?
it's been the census. It's been The Rock.
Okay.
Oh, you want to hear Justin's?
Yeah. Who's yours?
Oh, come on, man.
Putting you on the spot.
Really?
Yeah.
You gotta tell.
So
him.
it's changed over the years. At a time, it was
When you were a girl,
yeah. When I was a little girl,
Yeah. Elton John.
I really well. I
Freddie
really
Mercury.
thought it was Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
There was
Oh, I like
something
JT.
about there was
JT.
something about
like
Justin
JT.
Timberlake
JT.
now, and I love this dude. We pull up the search.
by the way, when we do this with Brian, you
Oh
say
my
the name
God.
and he pulls him on the screen.
It's automatic.
Yeah.
Frank Grillo's my dude.
don't know
Frank
who that
Grillo.
What?
Frank
that?
Grillo?
I'm so, just so you know. I
Do
don't
you remember
listen to music.
Kingdom?
Oh, yeah.
You ever watch Kingdom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we watched
He was
Kingdom.
the owner of the gym.
Oh, okay. okay.
Frank Grillo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's you're gonna hate me for this. I don't follow anything other than
I don't
MMA.
either. I don't
Like,
either.
I don't know actors. I don't know music. I don't.
He only
listen to
knows
songs.
his crushes.
My playlist is like my same playlist from high school.
All right.
Like
I hear you.
you know, like because people are like, what do you listen to? Podcasts.
right.
Podcast. I do watch Alone. Do you guys watch Alone? You don't watch Alone? It's pretty cool. They drop off 10 people right now. They're in.
Oh yeah. I've
British
seen it, but I've
Columbia
never
right
watched
now.
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
survive
they gotta
in the
survive.
wilderness.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they got to record themselves.
Mine is Brad
get
Pitt.
going.
I'm a Brad
Pitt,
Pitt
you're a
kind of
Brad
guy.
Pitt.
Call. Strong
Yeah,
move.
right?
I don't think you can go wrong with any of those.
Exactly.
You can't go wrong with Freddie Mercury either. You see Freddie Mercury? I love Freddie Mercury.
July 31st.
Yeah.
Union Event Center, right?
Yep.
Do you have tickets?
I have general admission tickets left only. All the VIP tickets are sold out, and from what I understand from talking to most fighters, that I don't think there might be a couple left.
We know how this works. You support a fighter.
Yes.
So if you're gonna go buy tickets, buy it from a fighter. Don't go buy tickets at the door, right?
So just so people know, as amateur fighters, people are like, do you make money? We don't make money to fight, but the promotion, Still Fist, and like most promotions, are good enough to us to say, go out and sell the tickets, promote yourself. They give us a cut of our ticket sales.
Right.
So that's how we make a little bit of scratch on top of our sponsorship. Cool. We sell our tickets. So yeah, I mean, I even tell people, I'm like, I don't care if you buy them from me, just buy them from a fighter.
Right.
Like hit up a fighter on their social media, look up the card, Still Fist Fight Night on Facebook or on Instagram. Look up all the pictures. Find a fighter that looks cute, or get in touch with your gay side
your picture
or
on
whatever.
Facebook behind
He
bars.
pointed to me when he said the gay side.
No, I put it in your podcast.
He said, "Oh, the other side of the beehive."
Is your picture on Facebook behind bars?
Yeah, right. Hey, but just hit up a fighter and get tickets from them.
And if you can't make it to this fights, Blitz TV, BLITZZ.TV, and you can get the pay-per-view.
Perfect.
Damage Podcast. Where can people find you?
Damage Plan MMA Podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. Anywhere you can find
go subscribe to our YouTube, please.
Yeah, go subscribe to our YouTube, Damage Plan MMA Podcast on YouTube.
If you guys have anything ever going on you want us to promote, please let us know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys
We'll
need to come on
blast
our
the shit out of
podcast.
us. We'd love to.
Yeah.
I
don't know what I would do,
talked to
but-
Dalton. I'm like, I want to be on their podcast. He's
Dude,
like,
we'd
oh,
love
I
to
know
have you
those guys. I'd love to have them on. I'm like,
love to have you
well,
on, man.
yeah. So, no, thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. It was a blast.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
guys.
It was awesome.
You want to tell where people find you or no?
The Facebook, I'm not in jail. J_Sim68. The other side of the Beehive, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all the jazz.
You can find me on Angel Severa on Facebook and Ange Severa on Instagram. And I do this segment on U92's website when I speak. I try to teach Dre Spanish in a segment called No Hablo Dre Español. Follow us there. And is that it, guys? Anything else you want to say?
We're good.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
for having
again,
us.
Thanks for coming. Until guys, until next time, take care of yourselves out there. We will see you on the other side of the Beehive.
Peace!